powerful moment on the floor of the Nigerian Senate on Tuesday, as Senator Adam Sosomole delivered a scathing challenge to his colleagues during plenary debate on insecurity across the country. Let's take a look.
We all admitted we were shocked about war kidnapping that took place in Kaby. And it was reported, and the governor of Kaby State cried aloud that military personnel that were in that particular school were ordered to be withdrawn. And about 40 minutes later, the kidnappers came and cut away about 200, I can't remember exactly the number of children. This Senate, under your leadership, we passed a resolution that the military high command should disclose the name of that officer, the action that had been taken against him, to satisfy us that that action was not willful, or that people who are entrusted to protect us, that some of them have not become part of our problem. Mr. President, I have always tried to be present in every day that this thing is sits. As I speak, I am not aware that we have gotten a response to that simple inquiry. If the armed forces is not accountable, if we do not carry out due audit and oversight on resources that we have all been blackmailed to appropriate to protect Nigeria, and we come here lamenting that the things is now taking over the country, I think we need to do more than that. We need to carry out security audit, money appropriated, who got what, how was it used, and I still insist that this Senate is entitled to have a reply to the question we unanimously ask: who withdraw those people for the children to be carted away?
Now, Oshiomhole has called for a full audit of defense spending, warning that without accountability, resolutions mean nothing. But not a single senator seconded his motion. His motion was dropped. Nigeria is burying kidnapped victims, watching teachers plead from captivity. And yet, when one senator asked where the defense billions are going, the chamber goes silent. The nation is mourning, and you can hear from Adam Sosomole his powerful condemnation, basically, of the defense spending, the billions that have been spent on military equipment, and they're not being accounted for. He also touched on the very sensitive nature of our military. In Kaby, we had that situation where the military was redrawn, and still we don't have accountability. Who did that? Who made the call? Your thoughts?
Well, I think those are legitimate questions that have been posed by Senator Adam Sosomole. First, I think on this table, when we were discussing the incident in Kaby, we also said that, why would anybody withdraw, the troops when there was a very clear danger and there was an alert and there was concern within the community, and that who made that call, and that person should be known. It's all part of the process of accountability. And so when the senator stands up and he says, this Senate, when it passes a resolution, that resolution, we should get a feedback on it. The only caveat is that a resolution does not have the force of law. So, a legislative body can say this is a resolution, but it's not as if that has the force of law, because it's not a piece of legislation. It's just an opinion of that body. But if it says, yes, we would like to have a feedback, does the National Assembly itself, does it have the mechanism for or the capacity for getting that requested feedback? But as Nigerians, we too would like to hear about that feedback. The most substantive issue that Senator Adam Sosomole raised has to do with the issue of defense spending. And this is not the first time he's raising the point. Previously, he had said some army generals, either retired or serving, they were building universities and structures in their hometowns at a time when Nigeria was having very serious security challenges, and that he, as a representative of the people, would like to know how is the money, being spent for defense. And that consistently, defense has always received the lion's share of Nigeria's annual budget. And I made the point earlier that, yes, he's right. It's part of the responsibility of the legislature. Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution gives them oversight powers and authority to ask questions, to do appropriation, and to also ask on behalf of we, the long-suffering people of Nigeria, how our money is being spent. And that the armed forces of Nigeria cannot be placed above the laws of the land. Even the armed forces is answerable to the people of Nigeria. And so if Senator Oshiomhole insists that we want to know how they are spending these resources they are being given, I think it's on the right lane. And so what is unfortunate is that I heard that that motion was shut down by the National Assembly.
Very poor.
So, you know, we don't want the National Assembly to sleep on its responsibility. Yes. It should be awake to its responsibility and to ask questions, whether from a field marshal in the Nigerian military or from whoever is in that military. They are accountable to the people.
All right.
We're in a civilian dispensation. This is not a military dispensation.